Today we are going to make some yummy delicious chocolate chip cookies. Let's get started. The recipe that I use is actually just on the bag of the Nestle Semi-Sweet Chocolate Chips. So we'll go from there. Recipe. Alright, I keep my flour and my sugars in a plastic container. Helps keep it stored nicely. So it's 2 1/4 cups of flour. So you pile that on and then just kind of scoop it off so it's flat. Put that in an extra bowl. And in my cup measurer there's a bunch of different lines that tells you all the different measurings, so I'm just using the same cup as opposed to bringing out a 1/4 cup measurer. Alright, and then we also have 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And again, if you can detach your spoons from the whole thing that's together, it's easier that way than you only have to wash the 1 spoon. So on the inside of the container there's usually a little flap, so when you're measuring, again you just scrape off the spoon on there so it's nice and flat. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. Whatever salt that you have. I try to go for the sea salt. A little bit healthier for you. And now we will move on. The recipe calls for 1 cup of softened butter. So 1 cup is 2 sticks. And I just leave these sit overnight so that they are nice and soft. You can also use your microwave to soften butter up. You have to look up your instructions on your microwave, how hot that is and how long it would take to do that. Actually, we'll see. Sometimes you can just plop it in, sometimes there's enough butter on there and you want to scrape it off. But I just leave it. And then 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. So again, I'm just going to use my 1 cup measurer and go to the 3/4 spot. And you beat your butters and sugars together so you can do all that together right away. And 3/4 cup packed brown sugar. Brown sugar, you always want to make it really nice and tight fit in there. Again, keep your brown sugar in a plastic container. That keeps the brown sugar nice and soft. If you're just tying off your bag and leaving it in your shelf, or, well, I guess that'd be the only other way, sometimes it can harden up. So there are different methods of keeping that soft also, with putting a piece of bread in there or an apple. I don't like a lot of brown sugar on my hands, so I just scoop it in the bag. But then you're supposed to use your hand. You're supposed to make sure it's nice and tight. So put that in there. And then we're going to put that in our mixer and beat it till it's well mixed. Once that's well mixed, I'm going to scrape down all the ingredients off of the beater, and then off the sides of the bowl. And then we add 2 eggs. You want to crack your eggs into an extra bowl first, just to make sure that you don't get any shells in there. So you can always catch out the extra shells easier in a bowl than you can from your mixture. You have your 2 eggs. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And again, beat that till it's well mixed. When that's really well mixed, go back down to your slowest setting, and then with your flour, salt, and baking soda mixture, you're going to add that really slowly. Again, until it's well mixed. Pretty fast and easy recipe. When the batter's all well mixed, you just want to scrape off your beater and get all the extra dough mix on the inside. Then we're going to add our chocolate chips. You can also add nuts to the recipe if you would like that. I usually don't. I prefer my cookies without nuts. At least my chocolate chip cookies. Let me add the whole package of chocolate chips. And then just mix those in. My stove preheats a little quickly, so I usually wait until this point to preheat it, and then by the time that I have a couple of the trays filled with cookies ready to go, my stove will then be preheated. Again, the bag calls for 375. My stove cooks a little bit warmer. I like cooking at 350. So you'll learn that as you keep going with your own stove and how that all works. So we will preheat, and then we will tray our cookies. So you want to put your cookies about 3 across. So make sure there's a little bit of space in between them so that when they cook, they have room to spread out. And then you go about 4 cookies down, so you get 12 to a tray. Also, when you're scooping, make sure that you have enough cookie dough and enough chocolate chips in there. Sometimes when you get to the end, you'll have a little bit more dough than chips, so just kind of make sure they're a little evenly spaced out. And that's it. We're just going to keep going till we fill up probably about 4 trays. And when the oven beeps, we will get them cooking. Okay, different types of pans take different amounts of time to cook. So again, you'll have to play with that with your stove. I normally start off with 9 minutes for the cookie, check on them, and wait until they're kind of well cooked. Again, you can see it's a little bit brown around the edges. Also know that you're supposed to leave them sit on the pan for about 2 minutes after you take them out of the oven, and they will cook a little bit more when they're on the pan. So if they're already kind of way done in the oven, they're going to cook a little bit more, might be overdone when they're here. It's a little bit cool enough I can touch it with my hands. Take it off with a spatula, take your cookies off, and put them on a cooling rack to cool completely. I do have some other pans. The silver pans I find take a lot longer to cook, whether it be this type and or for a brownie pan. I have some other pans that don't look as pretty on camera, but they are darker brown and they are well seasoned. But I find that they cook better. Now we'll let those cool before we eat them. As you keep baking your cookies and you bring them out, and your cooling trays will end up filling up. As your cookies are cool, they'll be cool enough to put into a container. So you can store them in an airtight container. Unless, of course, your family eats them all up the same day you bake them. Ha ha! I eat pretty many here in the same day, so that's why I only make this once in a while. I would eat too many. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below of anything else you'd like to see me make or do, and I will leave the recipe for these cookies down in the description below. I'm going to go enjoy my snack. You keep it positive. Make it a great day. Cookies might be rounder and whatever, but I don't know.